Good morning, my dear friends. In this video, we are going to learn about the Regulating Act of 1773. As we know that this act was of great constitutional importance act because here I have listed 3 points. Point A, first step to control and regulate the affairs of company. We know that it was the act of regulating act of 1770 was the first step taken by the British government to control and to regulate the affairs of the East India Company in India. So now the question is why the British government wanted to control and regulate the affairs of company. If we read the previously the history, then we understand that the corruption among the servants of the East India Company has been increasing rapidly. That's why the British government wanted to control and regulate the affairs of East India Company because the servants of the company were making profit indirectly. They were putting the dust in the eyes of British government. That's why the British government has issued the Regulating Act of 1770 to control and regulate the affairs of company. Now the second point B, first time recognized political and administrative function of a company. So regulating act of 2020 was the first time was first time recognized the political function of the company and administrative function of the company. By recognizing the political function and administrative function of company, it has put limitation about the political function and administrative function. Now the third point, first time laid the foundation of central administration India. Okay, now let's go to ahead and we will look the feature of regulating act of 1773. Here I have listed 5 points. First point, designation. Second, subordination. And third, provision. And fourth, prohibition. And fifth, requirements. Now we will look one by one. First, designation. We know that in the Regulating Act of 1773, this act designated the governor of Bengal. Before there was a governor of Bengal. Now it designated the governor of Bengal as the governor general of Bengal. Okay, before there was governor of Bengal, only governor of Bengal. Now this act has a designation, new designation. What that designation? The Governor General of Bengal, and with him created an executive council of 4 members. Why? To assist the Governor General of Bengal. Okay. Now the question is, who was the first Governor General of Bengal? So the first Governor General of Bengal was Lord Warren Hastings. Okay, who was the last governor of Bengal? So last governor of Bengal was Warren Hastings, and first governor general of Bengal was Warren Hastings. Okay, so the Regulating Act of 1773 gave the first point is designation. It designated governor of Bengal as the governor general of Bengal. Okay, now the second point, subordination. What subordination means? Subordination means to put under someone. Okay, now this act of 1773 put the Madras and Bombay presidency under the subordination of Bengal. Okay, it made the governor of Bombay and Madras presidency subordinate to the governor general of Bengal. But before this was not so. Before they were before they were three presidencies. But now in the Act of 1770, the Bombay and Madras presidencies had been put under the subordination of Governor General of Bengal. Okay, now the third point, provision. What was the provision? So there was a great provision, and provision was the establishment of Supreme Court. Before there were no Supreme Court, only civil courts were there. But in 1774, at Kolkata, there uh, was established a Supreme Court, and in the Supreme Court, it was comprising one Chief Justice and other three judges with him. So what we learn in the point 3, provision, in provision we learn that there was an establishment of a Supreme Court in Calcutta in 1774, comprising one chief justice and three other judges. Okay, now let us look at the point 4, prohibition. What was prohibition? Prohibition means to deny, to forbid them. Okay, prohibition means to forbid them. So, the Regulating Act of 1773 prohibited the servant of the company from engaging. We have learned that they were engaging themselves in the private job and they were making indirect profit. So, the Regulating Act of 1773 prohibited the servant of the company from engaging in any private trade or accepting present or bribes from the natives. Okay, what the Regulating Act of 1773 did, it prohibited the servant of the company from engaging in any private trade or accepting persons or bribes from the native. Now the last one, requirements. Requirements means demand, asking. The British government began to ask about the affairs of revenue matters, affairs of civil matter, and military affairs of India. So, military affairs in India. So, it has the Act of 1770 has a requirement, and it began to ask from the British, from the East India Company, what are you doing? Just give the report. So by asking the report, it strengthened the control of the British government over the company. When in the British government began to ask and require the court of directors. It means and the British government began to ask to the court of directors, the governing body of the company, to report on its revenue and civil and military affairs in India. By asking this, it has strengthened the control over India. So what do we learn in the fifth point, requirements? So British government began to require to report on its revenue and civil and military affairs in India. Okay, now let's have a recap what we have learned. Let's quick revise. First, first we learn about the designation, the feature of Regulating Act of 1770. First designation, it designated the Governor of Bengal as the Governor General of Bengal and created an executive council of 4 members to assist him. Okay, the first such Governor General was the Lord Warren Hastings. Okay, the second point, what we learn, subordination. We know that it made the Governor of Bombay and Madras Presidency subordinate to the Governor General of Bengal. But before it was not so. And in the third point, provision, we have learned that it provided for the establishment of a Supreme Court at Kolkata in 1774, comprising one Chief Justice and three other judges. Okay. Fourth, prohibition. What we learn in the prohibition, it prohibited, the Act of 1773 prohibited the servants of the company from engaging in any private trade or accepting persons or bribes from the natives. Now the fifth point, requirements. What we learn that learn in the requirements, the Act of 1773 extended the control of British government. How? Over the company. How? Because it required the court of director. What is the court of director? Court of director is the governing body of the company. Okay, it required the court of director to report on its revenue and civil and military affairs in India. Okay, in this video here, thus far we have learned. Okay, in the next video we will continue amending Act of 17.